Good afternoon. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Climate and Infrastructure Committee for November 13th, 2025. I'm Katie Cashman, chair of this committee. Before we convene our meeting, we have a presentation of an honorary resolution. Our resolution today recognizes the city staff and the contractors who worked on the design and construction of Hennepin Avenue South in Uptown, which just reopened. So I'll invite council members who are excited about this new street and our public works staff to join me to present this resolution. Okay. All right. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. So our resolution today recognizes city staff and contractors that worked on the design and construction of Hennepin Avenue South. Whereas the Minneapolis Public Works Department is being recognized for the incredible work they have done over the past 7 years to plan and construct the new Hennepin Avenue corridor. And whereas through years of robust community engagement, the Public Works collaborated to find a design that would meet the needs of as many community members as possible, as well as reduce the high rates of deadly crashes on the street. And whereas over 100 people who work for the city were part of making this redesign possible, and each one deserves our gratitude today. And whereas in order to ensure reliable and continuous delivery of high quality, safe drinking water and public fire protection, staff from the Division of Water Treatment and Distribution Services relocated 21 hydrants at improved pedestrian crossings and transit stops, replaced 25 lead service lines within the project limits, closely managed the water main relocations and improvements necessary to accommodate electrical infrastructure and stormwater improvements at 15 intersections, rebuilt 20 original 1880s vintage brick maintenance holes to protect the integrity of the new roadway, and replaced 9 water main isolation valves. And whereas in order to create a safe, equitable, efficient transportation corridor for all travel modes, the reconstruction of Hennepin Avenue included a narrower roadway that will promote slower speeds and shorter pedestrian crossings, 2 new signalized pedestrian crossings, a 2-way off-street bike facility to promote bike accessibility and safety, dynamic transit priority lanes, BRT stations, and transit signal priority along the corridor. Dedicated left turn lanes and a better managed system with fewer conflict points to promote safety, 10 fully rebuilt traffic signals with ADA compliant ramps and accessible pedestrian push buttons, and 100 new street lights plus festooned decorative lighting. And whereas in order to keep our surface water as clean as possible and reduce flooding following rain events, surface waters and sewers and project staff installed 11 bioswales, 26 stormwater planter boxes, 23 tree trenches, 10 infiltration box culverts, approximately 1.2 miles of stormwater pipe, and a small ramp leaving the tree trenches to let wildlife go in and out. Whereas to improve the experience of rolling, walking, biking, and riding transit on Hennepin Avenue, the project includes wider sidewalks with enhanced landscaping placed with increased separation from vehicle traffic, shortened crossing distances at crosswalks, and a raised median to allow for easier crossing. 1.11 miles of protected bikeway, improving connections to the all ages and ability bikeway network, including 26th and 28th Street, Bryant Avenue, Franklin Avenue, and the Midtown Greenway, making bicycling through one of the busiest areas in Minneapolis safer for residents on their way to the lakes, shopping, dining out, going to a show, or passing through. Creating a roadway that highlights the Metro E line, which will be open in a couple weeks here, a $64 million investment in fast, frequent transit that will increase bus trips available to and from Uptown by 20 to 30%, supporting the city's mode shift goal to 3 out of every 5 trips taken by walking, biking, or transit. And whereas Hennepin Avenue is home to hundreds of locally owned businesses that make Uptown the unique neighborhood it is in our city, and whereas Prince once wrote of Uptown, now where I come from, we don't let society tell us how it's supposed to be. Our clothes, our hair, we don't care. It's all about being there. Everyone's going uptown. That's where I want to be. Further emphasizing the magic and importance of Hennepin Avenue as a cultural hub for creativity and expression. And whereas we love Hennepin Avenue and we're grateful that it's back and open and ready for the public to enjoy to the fullest. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council do hereby recognize November 13th, 2025 as Hennepin Avenue Day in Minneapolis. So thank you, everyone. When I found out that there were over 100 city staff that were involved in this project from start to finish, I was really blown away. So wanted to take an opportunity to congratulate you, to celebrate you, and just thank you for making such a huge generational investment in safety and sustainability for not only the Uptown area, but the entire city. So thank you so much for being here today. Kathleen or anyone, would you like to make a couple remarks? Adam, maybe? Or Don?
Thank you, Councilmember. Don Elwood, the Director of Transportation, Engineering, and Design. I'm going to face the team. First off, thank you. Personally and professionally, since 2018, you've been working on this project. That's a long time. And I remember what we were working on coming out of 2018. And you kept working through this project, good times and bad times. Now we've reached the point, and thank you for this resolution. It celebrates a major milestone, a major accomplishment for all of you that have worked on this project. I know looking ahead, some of us are going to miss going out day to day, working on the construction project. But at the same time, looking ahead, what a great corridor this has turned out to be. It's beautiful, it functions better, it looks nice, and it's really a transformative for this entire city. So thank you so much for the work that you did. I wish you all the best of luck working with me in the future on the next big project, because I'm looking forward to them as well. So thank you again, personally and professionally, for all the work you do.
All right, with that, Molly will come up and grab a quick photo. Your photos. Just go ahead and get between these black lines here so everyone can fit in.
So we might need to do 2 rows so everyone can fit in between the 2 black lines here. All right, say Hennepin. Thank you. Congrats.
All right, so before we call the meeting to order, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning to increase the accessibility of our proceedings, so we ask all speakers to moderate the speed and the clarity of their comments. Thank you so much. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to verify a quorum.
Councilmember Rainville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Osman is absent. Chavez.
Present.
Vice Chair Koski.
Present.
Chair Cashman.
Present.
We have 5 present.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum. And For members of the public, if you're here for the public hearing, please make sure to sign up with Clerk Michael. And to all committee members, we will be using speaker management today. So we'll start with our consent agenda items 1 through 4. Item 1 is authorizing subordinate funding agreement with the Met Council for local work design and costs associated with the Blue Line Extension project. Item 2 is a resolution amending the 2025 Capital Improvement Appropriation Resolution to authorize the closure and appropriation adjustments for capital projects and programs. Item 3 is authorizing a cooperative agreement with Hennepin County for the Cedar Avenue reconstruction project. Item 4 is authorizing a utility easement agreement with the Park Board for storm sewer and stormwater basins in the Columbia Golf Course. Item 5 is authorizing a joint powers agreement with the Park Board related to parkway paving, repair, and construction. Item 6 is a resolution updating the electric vehicle charging rates as part of the EV Spot Network pilot project and incorporating these fees in the parking and mobility fee schedule. Colleagues, is there any discussion or items that you would like to pull for further discussion? Seeing none, I'll move approval of all items. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. So our next items are the public hearings. So our first public hearing is related to the First Avenue South reconstruction project, and I'll invite staff to briefly speak to this before we open the public hearing.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Mohammed Omar. I am an engineer with the Transportation Engineering and Design Division of Public Works. Today, I am here presenting for the public hearing for First Avenue Reconstruction City Project 2347. The proposed project will reconstruct approximately 1/2 mile of First Avenue South between Grant Street and Franklin Avenue. The project is a reconstruction project involving the entire right-of-way and will include new sidewalks, ADA-compliant pedestrian ramps behind the curb, bicycle accommodations, new pavement, curb and gutter, and utility improvements. The project would also include signal improvements and new signage, pavement markings, and stormwater management infrastructure. The total anticipated project cost is $11,540,000. The total reconstruction assessment is $637,767. That is based on the 2026 uniform assessment rates and the influence area method. The rates are as follow: $3.20 per square foot for non-residential properties, $1.12 per square foot for residential properties. These assessments are payable over a 20-year period. The rest of the funding sources are municipal state aid, value capture, and storm sewer funds. The city staff has conducted numerous outreach activities throughout the planning and design of this project. A virtual pre-assessment meeting to provide an overview of the project, discuss planned improvements, and answer any questions related to the assessment method and process was held on November 6th. Today, Public Works is asking City Council to pass resolution ordering the work to proceed, adopting the special assessments, authorizing sale of the assessment bonds, and removal of areaways in conflict with the project. That concludes my presentation. I'll stand by for questions.
Great, thank you for the presentation. I'll now proceed to open the public hearing. And Clerk Michael is correct. All of these are for a different item, correct?
Correct, Madam Chair. There are no members of the public signed up for the First Avenue public hearing.
Is anyone here to speak on the First Avenue reconstruction project? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask if there's anyone who would like to speak on this item. Councilmember Osman. Also,
Yes.
welcome, and we'll note your attendance for the record as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I do have a question. I know this a project has been happening for a while, and the streets had been wrecked. Like, it was really difficult for folks to go through. Cars. I did submit email to Director Tim Sackton. What is the condition right now? Is it still the same? Because there was a construction that was undone that was just making it unsafe for folks to get around. I do have pictures that I share with Director. Just wonder what is the status of this area right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the part south of Franklin is already completed. I think it looks great, but I'm not sure if it's
No,
fully done yet.
I'm talking about Franklin.
You're
all the way-
talking north, the new
Yep.
section.
Franklin, First Avenue, Franklin, all the way to Grant. That area, there was during the summer, the entire summer, there was construction was happening there, and it was like an unfinished work. Let's just say that that was residents were complaining about.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman, Councilmember Osman. Ole Mercier, Principal Professional Engineer in Transportation Engineering and Design. I believe that what you're referring to, Councilmember Osman, was the City Water Department was out doing lead service line replacements earlier this year north of Franklin. I think that's what we're talking about. And I think that work has been done and it has been restored out there. And there were some barricades out when they were doing that work and that sort of stuff.
Sound like it lasted for a while.
Yeah.
For a long time. I do want to ask you about the parking. Has there been any parking that has been removed from that area during this winter time? It does get a little bit of narrow. I know right now cars are parking somewhere in the middle of the road, but the bikes are going on this side of it. So, what does that look like?
Yeah. Chair Cashman, Councilmember Osman, I believe that there's been no changes in the current parking situation out there. I believe that probably during the construction of that water work, there was some temporary parking that was disrupted to accommodate that work.
Okay. Yeah, no, great. I move this item for approval, but I do want to say that I think the residents will be relieved to see the work being done there. Thank you so much.
All right. With the motion for approval by Councilmember Osman, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Our next public hearing is on the Cedar Avenue reconstruction project. And we'll invite staff for a brief presentation before the public hearing.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman and members of the committee. My name is Spencer Everett. I'm an engineer with the Transportation Engineering and Design Division of Public Works. Today I'm here presenting for the public hearing for the Cedar Avenue Reconstruction Project, City Project Number 2370. The county-led project consists of reconstructing 3/4 of a mile of Cedar Avenue between 24th Street East and Lake Street East. Elements to be included as a part of the project include full removal of the existing roadway, new sidewalks, a bicycle facility, ADA-compliant pedestrian ramps, boulevards, new pavement, curb and gutter, street lighting, signal upgrades, medians, green stormwater infrastructure, and utility improvements. The project will also include new signage and new pavement markings. The total anticipated project cost is $17,596,038, with approximately $4,250,000 being the city's portion. The total street reconstruction assessment is $828,170.32. This was calculated based on the 2026 uniform assessment rates and the influence area method. This method outlines $3.20 per square foot for non-residential properties and $1.12 per square foot for residential properties. These assessments are payable over a 20-year period. The rest of the local funding comes from approximately $3,360,752 in net debt bonds. City and county staff have conducted numerous outreach activities throughout the planning and design of the project. A virtual informational meeting to provide an overview of the project, discuss planned improvements, and answer any questions related to the assessment method and process was held on November 10th, 2025, with 0 attendees. Today, Public Works is asking the City Council to pass resolutions ordering the work to proceed, adopting the special assessments, authorizing sale of assessment bonds, and authorizing abandonment and removal of areaways in conflict with the project. That concludes my presentation, and I will stand by for questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the presentation. Going to proceed to open the public hearing and check if anyone signed up. I believe we don't have anyone signed up for this public hearing. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this Cedar Avenue reconstruction? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and ask if there are any committee members who have any questions or comments on this project. With that, I will move approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you. And our next public hearing is on Lowry Avenue Northeast reconstruction project. So welcome staff to begin the presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Alab Mahari. I am a senior project engineer with the Transportation Engineering and Design Division of Public Works.
Can you please move a little closer to the microphone? Thank you.
Today, I'm here to present the Lowry Avenue Phase 2 reconstruction project, CT project number 2361, CPB 074. The proposed county-led project will reconstruct 0.74 miles of Lowry Avenue between Marshall Street Northeast and Washington Street Northeast. The work includes full removal of the existing roadway, new ADA pedestrian ramps, sidewalks, bike facility, new pavement, new curb and gutter, wider boulevards, street lightings, and utility improvements. It will also include new signage and pavement markings. The total anticipated project cost is $14,388,153.16, with the city cost participation estimated at $2,421,000. The total street reconstruction assessment is $871,039.23. This is based on the 2026 uniform assessment rates. The rates are $3.20 per square foot for non-residential properties and $1.12 per square foot for residential properties. These assessments are payable over a 20-year period. The rest of the funding sources are net debt bonds. The city and county staff have conducted numerous community outreach during planning and design of the project. A virtual pre-assessment meeting was held on November 5th to provide an overview of the project, discuss plan improvements, and answer any questions about the assessment method and process. Today, Public Works asking the City Council to pass resolution ordering the work to proceed, adopting the special assessments, and authorizing the sale of the assessment bonds, and authorizing the abandonment and removal of the area was in conflict with the project. That concludes my presentation. I will stand by for any questions.
Thank you for the presentation. We will now open the public hearing on this item. Is there anyone who has signed up?
Madam Chair, there are no members of the public signed up for this.
All right. Is there anyone here who wants to speak on the Lowry Avenue Northeast Phase 2 reconstruction? Yes. Please come forward. Please state your name and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Abd Fatah Abdi. And I'm speaking on behalf of a number of the organization center. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak in today. Our organization has been deeply affected by the recent construction between the Marshall Street and the Washington. The costs associated with this project have placed a heavy financial burden on us, one that simply cannot afford at this time. We are a small number of dedicated for serving our community, providing essential program and serving that make a real difference in the people live. Because of that, I'm respectfully asking the council to consider waiving the construction and totaling more than $70,000. Your support will help us continue to work, and we do every day to uplift and support our neighbors. Thank you so much for the time you serve. We really consider to look that burden of the construction, to evaluate, to reduce or waive for the number of organizations. It is really considered that we close when the construction starts January, is simply meaning that center will be closed. And on top of that, the construction costing us almost close to $100,000. As we see in this documentation that we received from the mail. So we just wanted to acknowledge you that the centers already have difficulties. On top of that, that we see that it is not improvement, that the value of the house, no one owns it.
Thank you for your testimony. If you have additional comments, you can submit them in writing to the clerks as well.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and first recognize Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you. So in response to the last speaker, is there someone from staff that could explain? I have two issues, but could someone explain how these costs can be mitigated? Because they can go on the tax bill, right? And be yearly. They're not due all at once.
Good afternoon, Chair Cashman, members of the committee. My name is Paul Keating. I'm a management analyst in the Transportation Engineering Design Division of Public Works. The special assessments will be collected through the taxes over a 20-year period with interest set by the Finance Department. In the only option for deferment would be available to for residential properties. There is no option for non-residential properties.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And then the second question I have is, do we have a timeline for when construction will start and be finished? And I thought I heard January. Is that when it's going to start in the winter?
Chair Cashman, Councilmember Rainville. I'm Kelly Augusto. I'm a senior professional engineer with Hennepin County, working on the design of Lowry Avenue Phase 2. And our construction timeline is that we're staging it over the course of 2 construction seasons. The first portion will begin in 2026, about April or May, weather dependent, between 4th and Washington Street. And the next stage of construction will be in 2027, between Marshall and 3rd.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I'll recognize Councilmember Osman.
Yeah, just to follow up the last comments for speaker. I know that should be 20 years, but is the 70,000 that he's talking about the entire block, or is it just the building that he's referring to?
I'd have to review the individual parcels that were included. It may be multiple parcels. I would need to consult with our assessment roles to answer that specifically.
Yeah, I can see how difficult it could be for a nonprofit to pay $70,000. Doesn't matter how much you extend it, is with interest. That is a little challenging for organizations that are trying to survive, and especially when you bring this kind of magnitude constructions in the area, businesses close and businesses lose customers. So I can see why that is difficult for those individuals. So the total amount is $871,000.
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Councilmember Osmond, would you like to note this question for administrative follow-up?
Yeah, it would be helpful to know if one building is responsible $70,000 of construction.
Okay, we'll note that for the clerk to follow up on so that we can better understand the amount that the speaker in the public hearing was referring to.
Chair Cashman, if I may, the uniform assessment rate and the influence area method is how all of these assessments are calculated. So however large the parcel is going to determine how substantial the special assessment is.
Okay.
So it's going to be uniform throughout the city, throughout every reconstruction project that we do.
And you also did say the residents have some kind of way of, but not the non-residents or commercial
There is a
residential?
Yeah, that's correct, Councilmember Osmond. There's a deferment option for residential properties that are homesteaded with other certain specific criteria, but for non-residential parcels, there is no deferment process.
Thank you.
I have one more question as well, either for you or for the project staff from Hennepin County. Just looking at the map of construction, there's a section, just east of the river, and then over to Washington, but there's a gap in between University and 4th Street Northeast. Did that work already get done in Phase 1? And that's why it's not included here in Phase 2?
Chair Cashman, committee members, Kelly Augusto with Hennepin County. The reason for the gap in the county project around the University Avenue intersection is that a portion of that is included in MnDOT's University Avenue project, including a block on Lowry Avenue east and west of the University Avenue intersection.
Okay, and when is that project, that MnDOT project, set to be under construction?
Set to start in 2027 and also be staged over likely multiple construction seasons. So county staff and city staff and MnDOT staff are all coordinating these projects together to understand how they can be staged.
Yep, okay, thank you. I understand it's a lot for Northeast. Many, many projects that will be happening at the same time in this area, and it's really important to the council that the work group gets stood up for the city, county, and state to work together on staging to minimize the impacts to the extent possible to the residents and businesses. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? All right, I will move approval. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. So now we are moving on to our last item, our public hearing on gas and electric franchise fee ordinances. And I just want to note that we have, I think, over 50 people signed up. And so normally we would have a 2-minute clock, but because we don't have enough time with that many people signed up, we're going to reduce the amount to 60 seconds. So 1 minute for each speaker. It will be too difficult for, I think it's over 50 at this point, and we appreciate you being here. And so, the other option too is if your comments do go over, that you'll be more than welcome to submit them in writing to the clerk to be included in entirety in the public record. So thank you for your accommodation on that. So as we are getting settled in here, I will invite Luke Hollenkamp and Jocelyn Bremer to begin the presentation before we open the public hearing. Welcome. Not sure if we can hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
working now? Great, thank you. Chair Cashman, members of the CNI Committee, my name is Jocelyn Bremer, and I am a Senior Assistant Attorney with the City Attorney's Office. I, along with city staff, are presenting today at Chair Cashman's request on Council Members Cashman, Koskis, and Chugtais collectively the authoring council members' proposed franchise fee ordinance amendments. First, I'd like to begin with a brief background and overview of the utility franchise agreements to set the stage for the franchise fee ordinance amendments. The city has legal authority under Minnesota Statute 216B.36 to enter into franchise agreements with its utility providers. This statute also permits the city to charge franchise fees to raise revenue, defray municipal cost as a result of utility operations, or both. These franchise fees are considered pass-through costs as the utilities pass the cost of the franchise fees to their customers. As you may recall, earlier this year, the city adopted 2 new utility franchise agreements, which have been codified in ordinance. Appendix C-1 is the city's gas franchise agreement with its gas provider, CenterPoint Energy, and Appendix D-1 is the city's electric franchise agreement with its electricity provider, Xcel Energy. In Minneapolis, the franchise fees are set forth in separate ordinances from the franchise agreement ordinances. Appendix C-2 is the city's gas franchise fee ordinance with the CenterPoint Energy, and Appendix D-2 is the city's electric franchise fee ordinance with Xcel Energy. These are the ordinances that the authoring council members are proposing to amend. From 2019 to 2023, the franchise fees generated approximately $28 to $38 million annually. As a reminder, the amount generated by franchise fees varies from year to year because the city has traditionally set the value of the franchise fees as a percentage of gross revenues the utilities receive from customer consumption. The city last amended the electric and gas franchise fee ordinances to increase the franchise fees in the fall of 2023. The increase was estimated to generate approximately $8 to $10 million annually, again, based on the percentage of gross revenues the utilities receive from customer consumption. The city dedicated this increased revenue to the Climate Legacy Initiative, which supports the city's climate equity plan. More information about those programs is linked in the presentation, which is uploaded to the legislative files on these proposed franchise fee amendments on the city's legislative website, LIMS. This fall, the authoring council members propose to amend the current existing electric and gas franchise fee ordinances. The proposed changes include updating the references in the current fee ordinances to align with the new 2025 franchise agreement ordinances, including new rate classes to align with the customer categories the utilities submit in their rate books to the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission. Should be noted that many other Minnesota cities also use the customer categories outlined in the utility rate books, so this change will bring the city into closer alignment with many of its peers on this issue. The proposed changes also include increasing the utility franchise fees across the new customer categories, which sustainability will discuss in the next few slides. This increase is estimated to bring in an additional $5 million annually based on 2024 data, and is staff's understanding that the authoring council members intend for this additional revenue to also be dedicated to the Climate Legacy Initiative and its related programming. Finally, because the franchise fee ordinances are subject to approval by the Minnesota Public Utilities Commission, the proposed amendments set the effective date for the new rates and customer categories at 90 days after publication of the approved ordinances. I will now turn this presentation over to Luke Hollenkamp to discuss the proposed franchise fee rate increases.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Luke Hollenkamp. I am a Sustainability Program Manager in the Health Department. I want to first give an overview of what are the proposed changes as proposed by the council members. So this is a table that shows the proposed and then the current franchise fee rates in the category of the gas utility. On the left-hand side, you'll see the energy customer types. These are the rate classes that Jocelyn just mentioned. I will note that we, in our previous franchise agreements and in our previous ordinance, had listed just 3 customer classes, which actually captured all of these categories within them. So now, as Jocelyn mentioned, due to the new franchise agreements, we can differentiate between these customer classes. And also, the customer classes generally, as you look at the screen, go in descending order by the smallest energy users, such as residential on top, down to the largest commercial and industrial energy users at the bottom, who not only use often the most energy, but they often have the most energy expertise in-house. So the franchise fees in the residential category for gas are proposed by the council authors to go from 6% to 7%, a 1% increase. And then for the categories of commercial and industrial A, B, and B, those rates would increase by 0.5% up to 8.25. And then for the categories of commercial industrial C, and then commercial industrial dual fuel, A and B, those rates are proposed to increase to 8.75%. And then finally, again, in general, largest and most sophisticated energy users are in the commercial industrial large volume firm and dual fuel category. They would see, under the proposed ordinance, a rate increase of 1% up to 9.5%. On the electricity side, there are a few fewer customer classes. However, again, this used to have just 3 customer classes in our old ordinance. Now, due to the new franchise agreements, we are able to differentiate further, just like on the gas utility. And again, in descending order, generally then you will have an increase in electricity usage from the least amount of electricity consumption in the residential customers up to the largest commercial and industrial customers, whether at primary or higher voltage or secondary voltage. The proposed increases by the authors is to raise the residential rates from 5.25% to 5.5%, a 0.25% increase, and then an additional, or then a 0.5% increase on the small commercial industrial non-demand customers, up to 7.25%. Roughly equivalent to is the increase to small commercial industrial demand, which would go up to 7.25%. And here's where I want to stop and explain why that 0.26%. In the case of the billing systems used by Xcel Energy, they are not able to provide the level of granular detail we're looking from a revenue reporting standpoint when rates are set at an equivalent level across categories. So we've differentiated them just slightly here to be able to receive more granular revenue reporting. And then finally, those largest commercial and industrial customers, whether primary or higher voltage or secondary voltage, would, under the proposed ordinance by the council authors, see a roughly 1% increase to 7.75% and 7.76%. And another note here is that there are a few more customer classes for municipal pumping and public street lighting, and those classes are not shown here because the council authors have proposed that those remain unchanged. This is a slide that some of you may remember from previous franchise fee increases. So we want to present this today with an update to the information provided to show the estimated impact for the council author proposed increases. So total energy costs here for an average residential customer in 2024 are $1,753. I will note that this is actually a decrease from the slide that you've previously seen, where that was in 2022, $2,037. The reason for that decrease is multiple factors, but primarily amongst them was 2024 was a warmer year, so there was less heating demand for residential customers, and thus their bills were lower, as well as gas prices in 2024, which fluctuate due to market conditions, were cheaper than they were in 2022. So that explains that decrease over time. That also highlights, I think, the variability of energy prices year over year as well. And then compared against those 2024 total energy costs for a typical average household, the franchise fees as proposed by the council authors would impact bills by an increase of approximately $10 a year. And then borrowing from some information that Deputy Commissioner Patrick Hanlon provided to this committee about a month ago, there are a number of then utility or of city programs, particularly green cost share, which help residents reduce energy costs. And the franchise fees, which go into the Climate Legacy Initiative, or I should say the incremental fees of recent years that go into the initiative, help fund the green cost share program. And as an example, a project that is a weatherization project with some air sealing included in a typical household, as shown by green cost share numbers that we've collected, saves roughly $225 a year per household. And a more comprehensive project that green cost share sometimes funds, which includes also HVAC replacement and upgrades as well, in addition to those weatherization, can save upwards of $550 a year annually. And again, these numbers are all based upon 2024 values and 2024 weather and 2024 energy prices. So these all may fluctuate a bit. They already have fluctuated a bit in 2025, and going into the future, they may fluctuate as well. But if all were to remain constant, these are the expected impacts that we would see. And next, I will turn it back over to Jocelyn Bremer.
Thank you. Chair Cashman,